Hi, I'm Kelly and welcome to Kapowski Reads and happy Valentine's weekend. Is that a thing? I don't know. This video is going to be coming up the day after Valentine's Day, so a belated happy Valentine's Day to anybody who celebrates. I thought it'd be really fun to basically read romance for Valentine's Day. Groundbreaking, I know, right? I just thought it would be fun to just embrace the spirit. I have two romance books that I want to read and tell you about. The books I'm going to be reading in this video are Blob by Maggie Su. I'm going to be reading this as an audiobook. And the other book I'm going to read is a physical. And it's The Pisces by Melissa Broder. It's actually the third book that I am going to have read by this author. So it's all very exciting. Is she going to make it to my auto by authors list? I don't know. I tend to just add people on my auto by authors list after I've had 3 5-star reads from them. I can't actually remember if the other books were 5 stars though. Maybe they were 4. They were definitely books I really enjoyed and still think about to this day. These are perhaps, some could argue they were a bit of a strange pick for romance, but I think they make sense because they're the kind of romance I want to read. Blob surrounds the relationship, the age-old relationship between a lady and a blob. A sentient blob. Just a gelatinous, I keep saying the word blob, but that's what it is. It's just like a blob. And love happens. I am giddy with excitement about finding out how, why. I need to know, and then I'll tell you about it. And The Pisces focuses again on a traditional romance trope, a lady and a merman. I have read another book that focused on a relationship between a lady and a merman, and I loved it. In fact, I'll just mention it now, in case anybody wants a good recommendation. Female Fantasy by Aman Hariri Kia. This was one of my favourite books of 2025. It's a bit big, but do not let that put you off because it is wonderful. It's amazing. I need this author to bring me more books. Well, not bring me. I need her to write more books so I can read more of her books because I love them. I have picked these books together because A, romance. They match. And B, they both seem to have characters that are just a little bit not in a good place. Emotionally. Maybe physically, I don't know. They seem to be women who are struggling with their lives and they are in a place where you're perhaps ready to just accept certain things that you may not necessarily accept should you have been in a great place in life. I kind of love reading about characters who are lost and struggling, and that's maybe quite bad, I don't know, but I always really enjoy having that kind of book. I think it's sometimes referred to as like sad girl lit, which, yeah, the women are sad. They may not be happy at the end, but it's so much more than that. I think it's a whole genre of just, they're not just sad like they are, but there's nuances to it. They are sad for certain reasons and they may be working with or against that, but I usually have a good time. It is not raining today. It might rain later, but I'm going to go out for a little walk and enjoy my audiobook and I will come back when I have updates. I'm really hopeful about these two books. I've been putting them off especially for February because romance. I've had the most chill couple of days. I went to Pilates. So my spine is feeling really good right now, which is so rare. But whenever it happens, I have to just embrace it with just sheer glee. And I got myself some gorgeous flowers. I am obsessed right now with, they're just the wee cheapy flowers from Sainsbury's. They're £3.50 for just a little cute bouquet of roses. I got yellow ones because we have not had daylight apparently since the 21st of January. Yeah, there was an article that came out that said that the last official sunlight reported in Aberdeen was the 21st of January. No wonder we're all feeling it up here. Just grey, all grey. But I thought some yellow roses would just, perk up the house. I also started and finished my book, The Pisces by Melissa Broder. So the blurb of this book, I will tell you the blurb and then I'm going to tell you what I actually think it's about, because sometimes the blurb is not quite right. The blurb says that this is about Lucy, who after a bad breakup starts a relationship with an attractive swimmer, and that attractive swimmer is hiding something pretty massive. And while that does happen in the book, I don't think that's an accurate depiction on what the plot actually is, because the swimmer does not really show up until halfway through the book. He's not really a main part until then. So I think we're giving too much credit to Theo, the swimmer. Although looking at the front of the book, we all know what secret he's hiding. Do we not? Lucy is struggling. She has been in a long-term relationship, which has come to an end. Although their long-term relationship I found to be very strange. Who am I to judge someone else's relationship? But it definitely felt like Lucy felt the relationship was a lot more serious than Jamie did. And Jamie left Lucy for somebody a lot younger. And Lucy is not taking it very well. Also, Jamie's new relationship feels a bit more serious than her relationship was with him. So there's a lot of comparison going on there, and Lucy's not okay. She is also struggling with her PhD, and her sister offers her the opportunity to basically house sit. Her sister's going off travelling for a little bit and needs somebody to look after the house and to look after her child, love of her life, her dog, Dominic, who I love. So Lucy heads off to basically get a little bit of distance, and, a change will do you good. She also has a obligation to go to group therapy because, like I say, things have not been going well for her. So she has to go to a group therapy class full of other women who are having some very severe relationship issues. Lucy goes on a bunch of dates with some human men before any sort of relationship really starts with the swimmer boy. So now I've caught you up to where the blurb on the back of the book starts. And I'm hoping that it's not a spoiler. Forgive me if it is. From the front of the cover, I think we can all kind of guess what the swimmer is really. Well, the secret he's hiding. He's a merman. Sorry if you didn't know that. He is a merman. And their relationship it gets to a very speedy start. He's amorous, and yeah, the book was a lot more graphic than I thought it was going to be. This is my third book by Melissa Broder, and I think this is her most descriptive. Yet the sex scenes were very detailed, and wow, they went on for a while, and it's a very short book. This book was filled with toe-curling moments. My anxiety was going through the roof. Lucy is my age. Well, Lucy's 38, so a little bit younger. And she has no standard for men. No standards. And I found myself just yelling at the book no, Lucy, you deserve better. You deserve better. We all deserve better than a hotel bathroom floor. If you don't think you deserve better than that, I don't know what to tell you, because you do. So standards were low. And yet her standards kept falling. Oh, it was just an adventure of watching somebody choose chaos and watching her just self-destruct. She chose the worst options And it was really a compelling read because I didn't know what stupid decision she was going to make next. But I also found myself just so anxious and terrified of what was going to happen next, who was going to get hurt. And there's a dog in this book, Dominic. I love him. And I'm going to say, if you're a dog lover, don't read this book. I'm not a dog lover. I'm not a dog hater. I don't hate dogs. I wouldn't put them in like my top. If I was making a list of favourite animals, I'm not putting dogs on there. Just because some dogs I find quite scary and I get really flustered around like barky dogs or jumpy dogs. But I don't hate dogs. I don't want bad things to happen to them. No. I want them all to be nice and happy. But this is not a good time dog book. And if I look like I've been crying, it's because I've been crying. There's such tension because you just see these things happening which surround Dominic, the doggy. And you just know, like, there's a chance something bad could happen, and it's just horrible because I'm like, I don't want to read this. I don't want to read it, but I did want to read it. I would say I was really enjoying the book up until about page 180. And then the last 80 pages, 90 pages, I found myself both wanting to put the book down, put it in the freezer, and also wanting to finish it. So I was torn. I'm not adding Melissa Broder to my list of favourite auto-buy authors yet. Not with this book. I would actually say this is probably my least favourite book that I've read by this author. I'm going to give this 3 stars. It was on track for like a 4.5, but the last third of the book, I found myself not as into it as I wanted to be. I did like that the book was a little bit ambiguous with regards to Theo, the merman, because he never interacted with anybody else other than the dog. And I was kind of left wondering, being like, there's a chance that he's just a figment of her imagination. And I kind of liked that. The ending of this book was also left the door open, which I do like. I do love an ambiguous ending. And again, I thought this book was going to end in a way that it didn't. I had a different expectation. And I'm kind of glad that the author didn't end the book the way I thought it was going to end, because that would have just been so... I'd already cried. I don't want to cry again. I'm off to a good start, because even though like 3-star doesn't sound like that's the best, it wasn't the worst. And it was an entertaining read. I just didn't like the end. I didn't like the merman. He gave me like red flag vibes. But maybe my radar was just on, and Lucy was not in a good place mentally or physically at all. Spiritually, Lucy wasn't in a great place. So she was primed to be taken advantage of and exploited, and that's what I feel happened. But it was dark. It was darker than I thought it was going to be. I really love that dog. I have already made a start on Blob. I am really enjoying Blob as well. So I'm hopeful that I'll have that finished soon, and then I can tell you all about it. I'm going to go make a pasta bake now. My life is really exciting. I have to wash dishes too. I have to wash dishes. I'm making a pasta bake. That's pretty much it. It's still raining. For anybody who wanted to know. It's still raining. I have now finished my audiobook. I finished Blob. I loved this book. This was so good. I will tell you the plot first, then I will tell you my thoughts and feelings. That sounds like that is the smartest way. This is about Vi, who is 23. She's dropped out of college. Definitely feels like academia is not for her. She's working in a hotel. She doesn't like it. She's on the front desk, and on a night out she finds a gelatinous blob, and in a drunken stupor she decides she's going to bring that blob home with her. Why not? Very quickly she realises that this blob is sentient and she can give it instructions, and suddenly starts growing eyelids, growing a hand, growing a neck, turns into a real boy. And she basically turns him into her ideal partner, who looks like this just mashup of all of these famous actors. I went into this book ready to suspend disbelief. And I think that's the best way to go into these kind of books. Books that you're like, this is not set in 100% in reality. If you're looking for logic, I think you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Because this is a gelatinous blob that comes to life and there's a romance. You can't be going in looking for this to make sense. I did not like Vi as a person, but I liked her as a character. I wouldn't want to be friends with her, but I would like to read about what she gets up to. Maybe she could be friends with a friend of mine and I can find out secondhand chaos without ever having to be part of the chaos. That actually does remind me of chatting to a friend about a reel, because we're fun, that we'd seen that was about loving gossip. And I was like, I love to know gossip, but I don't want to be involved. I just want to know what's happening. I'm just nosy. Vi was just so lost as a person. She'd left college, didn't really know what she wanted to do, was constantly comparing herself to her brother who was academically gifted. He was a doctor. She just knew like that wasn't her path. She wasn't going to be a doctor. She wasn't. She struggled so much with college. She was so scared that her parents were disappointed by her. She was just so lonely and vulnerable. And I didn't like her, but I wanted good things for her. I wanted her to find the other side. And you know, I love a flawed main character. I love a flawed main character. That is my thing. I don't want a character who's got their life together. No, give me chaos, please. There were a lot of key relationships within Vi's life that the book touched upon. We have her relationship with her parents. She is a daughter of her father is an immigrant from Taiwan, and she grew up facing a lot of cruelty from other children and was sort of dealing internally with this sort of otherness, which was so interesting to read about, but also just so heartbreaking to read about. She had a workplace relationship with her colleague Rachel. Rachel was to Vi everything that Vi wasn't. Rachel was high blonde ponytail. She was peppy. She was friendly. Everybody liked her. And Vi she clearly couldn't stand Rachel because she just looked at Rachel and was like, your life has been so easy and you don't even appreciate how easy your life is, how you are so gifted. You have everything and you don't really work for any of it. And Rachel does something in the book that I'm like, I can move past that. I'd be raging. Like, I was raging reading this. And I was like, you forgive too easily. I would hold a grudge, but I'm not in a book. And I suppose at 23, I don't think I would have held a grudge. Would I? I don't know. But I do think that Vi forgave very easily. Or maybe Vi just didn't care. It could be that Vi didn't care. And then we have my favourite relationship, her relationship with Bob. Who is Bob, you ask? Bob is the blob. She gave him a name. And I love that she just went, Bob. That will be his name. And in Bob, she saw what she thought she wanted. She basically created him into her perfect man. But he still wasn't her perfect man. He maybe was what she thought she wanted, but he just wasn't. He was her companion, so she sort of dealt with her loneliness there and started to become very, very reliant on Bob. But Bob was sentient and he started to develop his own thoughts, his own feelings, his own desires. And suddenly Bob didn't want the same thing that Vi did. And there was sort of this struggle between the two of them, of Vi being like, well, I made you. And Bob being like, but you can't control me. And I thought that was so just profound because I was reading this book being like, yeah, it's a blob, like it's not a person, but he became a person, and then he had his own mind. There's gratitude, and then you can't control somebody. You can't control someone. And so when Vi lost control of Bob, a person she had literally made out of a blob of, I don't know what, she started to spiral. She spiraled. She lost her job. She had bad times in her relationship with her parents, which were already quite strained. And she was not in a good place. She hurt people. There was a horrible scene with her friend. And I was just like, no, don't do this. Don't do that. He didn't deserve that. This was a ride. I really liked this. I highly recommend this. It was surprisingly emotional. I did not expect to be crying. I cry at everything. But I was so invested. Like, I wanted to know what was going to happen next. I was rooting for Bob. I wanted good things for Bob. Ending did not go the way I thought it was going to. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that I totally expected the book to end in a certain direction. And it didn't. And I do like the way it ended because it surprised me. But I'm left with questions. I have a lot of questions. It started in a ridiculous way and it ended in a ridiculous way. So a sort of full circle for me, and I felt that was perfect. I just wanted something a bit different, but that's just me. And I still think it worked. This was just fantastical. I gave it 4 stars. I had such a good time. I really want to have a physical copy of this book though. So that's kind of going to be my trophy at some point. I had a great time with both of these books. I think they were definitely what I wanted to read. And I just really seem to enjoy. Is it good or not? I don't know. I really seem to enjoy a book where the main character is just lost, hopeless, almost kind of rudderless. They don't know where they're going in life. Maybe a little bit miserable. Maybe a little miserable. Then they experience something that's completely unrealistic and doesn't make sense. That's what I love. I love that in a book. Is that a genre? Or would that just be under the whole literary fiction genre? Strange books, I suppose. But I will finish the vlog up here because I'm ending on a high. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts were. Thank you so much for watching. Again, happy day after Valentine's Day. Bye!